Gee, I'm in my groove already. Am I? All right. live media. There you go. Hey, welcome to another edition of Coffee with the Goose, where we talk about things that are interesting, fascinating, and irritating. I'm the Goose. Glad to have you back. And it's a very special edition, times two of our show. But of course, we have to start the proper way with our medicine. And our medicine, as you know, is caffeine. My coffee, as you know, very strong, just like my opinion. And boy, do I need it after that fight last night. And oh yeah, got some creamer in there to make it sweet. Yes, I'm awake. Make it sweet, just like me. So, all right. Coming off the big fight last night, Manny Pacquiao winning over Keith Thurman for a share of the World Welterweight Championship. And it's a live version of the show today, and we're very blessed to have one of our favorite YouTubers join us. I discovered this gentleman a couple months ago. He brings it all to the table. He's smart. He knows his stuff. I've learned a lot from his channel already. He's funny, and he speaks to us in layman's terms so we can understand. His name is Rod, and it's DrBringIt. Good morning, Doctor. How are you?
How are you today, Rob?
Doing well. Very tired. I'm sure you are as well after that emotional roller coaster at that fight last night.
Yes, absolutely. I probably got to sleep last night around 3 o'clock. I cut a video doing a post-fight analysis myself because I knew that I was going to be gone for the most of the morning here on Eastern time. Yep. And man, I couldn't even sleep.
that was fun. Before we get into the fight, I want to introduce you properly to our viewers on our channel. It's DrBringIt. Tell us about your channel. How long have you been on YouTube?
Oh man, Rob, I joined YouTube in I believe 2007.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I actually was just playing guitar and doing some corny covers, acoustic covers,
right?
And I was into boxing back then too. So I figured, you know what? Let me try to do some boxing commentary, just to do it, because I've always had a passion for boxing, even before I really got into Manny Pacquiao. The good old like De La Hoya and Trinidad days, and watching Miguel Cotto come up the ranks and Fernando Vargas, all those like really exciting fighters. So I figured I'd go ahead and start talking about it, and I think I was pretty horrible.
I definitely disagree. I think you do a great job.
Oh man, thank you, sir. You're too kind. But yeah, I mean I had the knack of just watching fighters and really just geeking out on it. I used to, believe it or not, I used to watch a lot of fights in slow motion. Just to see, because I really had an appreciation for people who, the fighters that really had a tactical sense to the game, not just slugging it out, but like looking at the idiosyncrasies and the things that you kind of don't see.
Right.
I took some martial arts back in the day. Like I'm not a black belt in any way or anything, but I really geeked out on this stuff. Let's just put it that way. And I watched a lot of fights, slow motion. So I learned how fighters move, how they evade punches, and how they use their footwork to get around. So when Manny Pacquiao came out into the scene, I mean, obviously we thought that he was just a slugger.
Right.
Filipino slugger. So of course we loved it, but I think what happened is that obviously being Filipino, I had a reason to be proud. But he also, you know, those Shaolin Temple movies, where you had this guy who had no clue about what he was doing in the very beginning, and he kind of grew with him.
Yeah,
that was Manny Pacquiao for myself and for a lot of people. So when he went into with Freddie Roach, he started learning how to really use both hands. And we saw his progression as a fighter, of course, lose to Morales. We saw that, wow, Morales is obviously a technical fighter, a great counterpuncher, but we knew that he had to graduate to a more tactical, more strategic fighter, and Freddie Roach brought that out of him. So I just fell in love with it. So I just started to do more videos, and I got a pretty decent following. Believe it or not, it was only like, I think maybe 500 followers.
Mm-hmm.
And then I fell away.
Right.
And I started just doing, stupid stuff, just little videos here and there. But I kind of fell away from boxing for a while. Mm-hmm. And one of my subscribers reached out to me regarding this fight. And then another person said, "Hey, Dr. Bring It, where you been?" You know? Right. And then I said, you know what? I told my wife, I was like, you know what? Let me try to rekindle this thing. I felt a little bit guilty because I fell away, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then I cut my first video, and it was like, I think it was like 20 minutes. And I cut it in half, like part 1 and part 2 of Pacquiao versus Thurman. Who wins and why, right?
And those are the first videos that I saw with you, and I was immediately impressed.
Oh, man. But see, again, I wasn't sure. I said, you know what? This is 20 minutes. I said, who's going to watch 20 minutes of my stuttering and, slow talking? Like, who's going to really watch me? And, bro, it took off. Like, I was just shocked with how many people are really searching for this. And it just tells us that people are thirsting for the sport. They're thirsting for Manny Pacquiao, but this is really about boxing. People are hungry for boxing. So this is great for us, Goose. Totally great for us.
Yeah, I started my channel, or I should say Jude, and I am the handsome gentleman you see in the background is the real brains of the operation. Jude is my producer and the video guru. He's an amazing good friend and amazing talent, and he really makes it go on my end. But one of the you taught me many things already, Rod, and one of them was the footwork. We'll get into the Thurman fight here in a second, but I want to share this with you. You talked about the footwork of Pacquiao and how he goes against the grain. Normally, a left-hander boxing a traditional right-hander would step outside his left foot to stay away from the strong right hand. But you pointed out that no, he steps inside, which of course gets him closer to the target, but also protects him because now he's inside the strong right hand. It's genius to me.
Yes. See, those are the little details that I geek out on. Okay. Right. And I mean that in the most respectful way, of course. We all geek out in some ways, but that's one thing that I noticed about Manny Pacquiao and his footwork. Look at his calves, right? Yeah. I mean, his calves. I mean, he's just an explosive fighter. But again, he's 5'5", right? And yes, he doesn't have much of a reach, so he has to make up for that some other way, and he makes up for that in his explosiveness, his ability to get into range and then get out, again, like, and he, at first, when, like, in the beginning of his career, he was really susceptible to counterpunchers.
Right.
I mean, look at Marquez. I mean, again, Morales, Marquez, they punished him.
Yeah, all-time great, by the way.
They really taught him a lesson, but they grew together again. But they had trilogies with them, and then Marquez 4 times. Okay, so his footwork had to be on point. So I mean, what boxers try to do, obviously, in order to hit somebody, you have to be in range.
Correct.
So one thing that Manny Pacquiao is a master at is really watching the feet. So, let's take, for instance, Thurman last night. When Thurman would go in, Manny Pacquiao would mimic him or shadow him.
Right.
Just to keep that distance and just to get that rhythm together. right? Um, the thing is that I think Thurman's downfall was that he was never in the ring with someone with Manny's timing.
Correct.
Because he's not conventional. So Thurman is a more conventional fighter. And Manny Pacquiao, in his how many fights? 60 or 70 fights?
Right.
Okay. He has the experience with so many different fighters. And then again, sparring partners. Like he's sparring with Amir Khan like for so many years.
And Porter.
Right? And Porter. So he's like really, he's been in the ring with so many sizes, so many flavors. Nothing, there's no fighter out there that is so unconventional that Manny Pacquiao doesn't recognize.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the combination, for instance, that took Thurman down in the first round.
Were you surprised that it happened that quickly?
You know what? I mean, hindsight being 2020, I was surprised.
Yeah.
Because Thurman, again, I regard Thurman as a very good defensive fighter. I mean, I don't look at him with a ring IQ that people think. Like everyone was talking him up as if like he was some sort of, you know, omniscient ninja, you know? Like, I'm like, dude, relax, man. He's not that smart, you know? But I knew that he was, I mean, obviously he's a professional. These professionals, they're great at what they do. So he has a certain level of ring IQ. But I thought he was going to really stay away and really make sure he managed the distance from Manny a little bit better than that. But I don't know. I mean, when he was knocked down, I literally just jumped out of bed.
Are we off, Jude?
No, I think we're still good.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I was very surprised. Okay. I was really surprised because I didn't think it was going to happen in the first round. Again, I think you, as well as the entire boxing world, thought that Keith Thurman was going to come out swinging for the fences. Right. I mean, he put money on himself in the first round, second round, third round. I mean, he was supposed to knock out Pacquiao in the first 3 rounds, right?
Yep.
So I had no clue that was going to happen. I thought Manny was just going to go in and choose his shots here and there. But hey, trust me, I jumped out of my seat and I was like, oh my God.
Me and about 30 other people in my basement screaming at the top of their lungs. By the way, I want to remind our viewers that we're a special edition of Coffee with the Goose, and I'm so happy you're joining us, Rod. It's DrBringIt. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. DrBringIt, one of my favorite YouTube channels, and Rod, very knowledgeable in boxing, and but yet explains things in a way that we can understand very simply. And I really appreciate you, your channel, and you joining us today. You know, after the first half of the fight, really 6 rounds, I think Manny, in my opinion, won 4 of them for sure. And he was taking Thurman to school and hurting him. But Thurman, to his credit, showed what a valiant and smart warrior he is. And he got back up on his feet and started matching Manny and hitting him with some heavy shots. I was very impressed with the way Thurman recovered. How about you?
Yeah. Look, I was watching Thurman long time ago, probably like 10 years ago. I remember playing pool in the pool halls close to my house, probably about, early 2000s. Mm-hmm. And I was watching him on the screen while I was shooting some pool. And I remember like really enjoying watching him fight because he he's such a tough dude. And he puts everything in. When you watch him, like, you see how intense his face is.
Yes.
I mean, the guy looks like an animal out there. And I really loved it because he brought that kind of intensity to boxing fans. That's what we all want to see.
Right.
I mean, again, not to dig on Mayweather. I don't want to dig on Mayweather. Okay, he's great at what he does, but again, like, when you watch a boxing match, you think of like Mike Tyson, knocking fools out. Like, you want to see that, and that's the kind of intensity that Keith Thurman brought. Okay, so to this fight, I thought that he was really going to honestly bring it, and that's why when he started getting punched, he was knocked down in the first round. Second round, again, like, he was, Manny was connecting with some nice combinations. Man, what a roller coaster ride!
It really was. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, Rod. Towards the end, and I'm not a pessimist by any stretch of the imagination, but I was starting to get nervous. I was thinking, Thurman, to his credit, not just tough, not just a great heart, but intelligent. He changed his game plan midway through the fight and started to have a lot of success. And he almost pulled it off, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, the thing is that in the first round, when he first started, I thought I took him seriously when he said he put money down on himself, 10,000 in the first 3 rounds to knock out Manny Pacquiao. So I honestly thought he was going to start off like he started off against Danny Garcia. I don't know if you caught that fight between Thurman and Garcia, but he was swinging hard, for that fight against Danny Garcia. And I thought he was going to do the same thing and make the mistake of not respecting Manny Pacquiao's power.
Correct.
But it was opposite. So he actually started like relatively subdued, very careful. And that's actually really uncharacteristic of Keith Thurman. He didn't start that slow against Sean Porter either, or Josecito Lopez. Like, his pace was pretty fast.
Yes.
So I thought we were going to see that same Keith Thurman. So yeah, it was nice to see that he switched, because I know that I believe that he knows that he couldn't last 12 rounds, like competent rounds, against Manny Pacquiao at that particular pace. Right. So when I saw him very slow, I said to myself, you know what? He's doing the smart thing, starting slow to kind of like be more economical. And actually, based on the CompuBox numbers, you saw that he was the more efficient, fighter of the night. Okay. So I think he expected to go the championship rounds, and he knew very early on that he really needed to be strategic in his conserving his energy. Mm-hmm. But obviously you saw he burned through the first couple of rounds, and it went to Pacquiao. Mm-hmm. But he also got a taste of Pacquiao's footwork and got a taste of his combinations. And just to mention about that combination, I was going to say earlier, that combination that he used to knock him down was the same combination, or a similar combination, that Manny Pacquiao did to Cotto.
Correct.
He went left to the body, and like as Thurman was backing up, trying to mirror and keep his distance, Manny Pacquiao caught him with a left to the body, and then out of nowhere, the right came over, and Thurman didn't even see it. Like, if you watch that replay of him getting knocked, like his I think his eyes were here, and there was a glove that just came over here. It was like, and then he fell out of, oh man. Yeah. What a crazy combo.
It really was. And we were reminded of something as the fight went on, and Thurman started to find his range and really connect with Manny. we were reminded that Manny can take a punch. And I've only seen Manny go down, to stay once, and that was the Marquez fight. Other than that, he's taken all that his opponents can dish out, including some very big, tough guys like Margarito. And so last night he handled Thurman's all too human punching power.
Yeah, he did. Speaking of taking hits, against the Margarito fight, I remember him taking some uppercuts from Margarito. Who else? I mean, he did get bumped up against Cotto too. I mean, Cotto connected with Pacquiao as well, and he can take a punch. He can take a punch, and the reason why I think is because of his legs. His legs are very big. I mean, they got some beef to them, and yeah. Really, I mean, the guys with the skinny legs, they'll fold up. Look at Amir Khan, like a guy with like
glass,
right? I mean, glass jaw
legs too. Yeah.
So yeah, he was definitely reminded that Pacquiao can take a punch. But again, to Thurman's credit, Thurman was never really able to get off the kind of punches that he usually gets off against his opponents.
True.
Like, like I talked about in one of my videos, that Thurman likes to sit on his punches, like really use the ground to get full leverage.
Correct.
But in order to do that, like I was saying, is that you really need to be settled down, planted. But against someone like Pacquiao, moving around all the time, changing his angles, Thurman's constantly doing this, like he's never settled. So he could never really sit down. So the best he could do was just the cliche, straight right up, against the southpaw. And that's what he was able to do. But that right was more or less like, it was more or less like a jab, straight right, not so much a real huge power punch where he gets to sit down and wind up. And that's what I was afraid of, those kind of punches.
Right. Now, Pacquiao came away with a win, and I'm not sure, and I want your opinion on this. So, by the way, DrBringIt is our guest today on Coffee with the Goose. Check out his channel. DrBringIt, well-spoken, very articulate, and very knowledgeable. He, like I try to do, not just give you my opinion, but I try to have some facts to back it up. But I wasn't sure as the fight wore on into the later rounds, and it started to become, a real battle. I wasn't really sure who was going to prevail in the end. I wasn't sure whether, what should I lay the blame? Is it Thurman's a great fighter, or Pacquiao's just getting older? Because he faded a little bit. He ended up bouncing back in like the 10th and 12th rounds, if my memory serves me correctly. But he looked very tired.
Well, a couple of things, and it could have been a couple of things. I mean, the only person that would really be able to tell that to us would be Pacquiao himself, whether or not he feels that, wow, I am 40, but there's a couple of things that we don't really see, or a lot of fans don't see, and it's the fact that Pacquiao had to move a lot more than he usually does. If you notice towards the middle rounds and even towards the end, Thurman would just stand there in the middle of the ring. He would just stand there and try to counter, but it was like almost trapping Manny Pacquiao. That's why we, like, subliminally or subconsciously, we were on the edge of our seats, like, man, is he like up to something? Is he gonna do something? Like, is he like just trying to play possum here? And like, then all of a sudden, boom. And, because I think in all of our heads, we kind of saw, we were kind of seeing something, like something was up, right? But thankfully it didn't happen. But Manny had to move around a lot. Like Thurman didn't come to him. Pacquiao was the one who had to bring the fight.
Right, right.
And that takes a lot of energy.
It does. And let's not forget, we heard all the trash talking, but let's not forget, Keith Thurman is a champion. He was undefeated and very confident, very skilled, very smart. He's a champion, and it was Pacquiao wasn't just it wasn't the bum of the month club. Keith Thurman was and is the real deal.
Yeah, he is. He is. People, not to use Roy Jones Jr., but y'all must have forgot, right? that Keith Thurman was the undefeated champion.
Yeah.
I mean, he is. He's no slouch. I mean, if he continues to fight, I will watch his fights. I love watching him fight. As a matter of fact, I was there at the fight in Brooklyn watching him fight Josecito Lopez. And I went to the press conference and saw him fight. Saw him talk about like why he was kind of rusty and that, but I was emotional that night because I was disappointed, but we all have to remember he's definitely a champion. He's, again, I think because it was against Manny Pacquiao, people wanted to inflate him a little bit more.
Correct.
Again, make him seem like he's some sort of like, omniscient, almighty powerful ring IQ boxer. But again, we saw the holes. We saw the holes.
Yeah.
But I think we're all in agreement that you look at Manny Pacquiao's mom, or when they panned to the mom or to the wife. I mean, they were like, "Oh my gosh!" They were stressed, man.
Yeah,
we were all stressed.
My house were stressed too.
Oh man! And then when they said, "Oh, we got a split decision," I'm like, "Oh my god!" I said, "What are you kidding me?" Right? Everyone's jaw dropped.
Yeah. Before we get more into Pacquiao, I just want to cover one more thing with Keith Thurman. We had fun with the trash talking, before the fight, and it was all marketing. But you know what? I was very, very impressed with the way Keith Thurman acted after losing that fight. He acted with grace and class, and you know what? He should be honored for that.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, I got the warm and fuzzies when they interviewed him right after Pacquiao, and no excuses. I'm not really sure if I've ever heard him, talk about excuses or anything like that. Or again, he never lost before either, but he just doesn't seem like he's that kind of a guy to make excuses. He'll own up to his loss. And the thing is we're going to hear it as we have our videos and we talk about the fight. A lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, Thurman was robbed," or whatever excuse, he's got a ring rust or whatever. You know what? That's coming from the fans. And I don't think you'll hear that from Thurman himself.
No.
He's accepted the fact that he lost, and he knows he was outboxed.
Yeah.
He knows it.
So DrBringIt, our guest today on Coffee with the Goose, check out his channel. Trust me, it's good stuff. You'll really enjoy it. Before we go any further, Rod, any other ways we can check you out? Instagram or Facebook or any place else?
Oh man, thanks for the plug like that. Sure. Yeah, YouTube, DrBringIt, and I do Instagram as well. If you want to see boring family pictures and golfing pictures when I'm out there, random stuff. But yeah, DrBringIt
on
Instagram and YouTube.
Okay, let's look into your crystal ball and see what's on the horizon. Got a great fight coming up, and that's Spence and Porter. I'm really looking forward to that. And apparently, it's also looking like. Before I get into that, I had really laughed about Pacquiao's answer. They asked him, "Well, are you going to fight the winner of Spence and Porter?" And he gave a politician's answer because he's a politician. He didn't say, "Oh yeah, I'll fight him." He said, "Well, yeah, I'll be there. I'll watch the fight," and that was all he said. So it was a brilliant answer. But that's going to be a great battle. Who do you see coming out on top of that one?
Porter and Spence, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I've watched Spence fight before. I really like what I see. Spence, he has a world-class jab. When I watch Spence, I see a fighter with a really good jab. He's got a lot of length, a lot of reach, and he uses the jab not just to set up, not just to set up shots, but it's a real. It really keeps the distance. It keeps pressure, and he's like, he likes to fight low. Like he's not like a stand-up guy, like and just kind of like he really likes to have a wide stance and really use his length. Mm-hmm. Someone like that against Porter, who's not too tall. Porter he's got something like he's got. I think the underdog would be Porter, even though Porter's like a more physical, big and bulky, strong guy, but. He has to be because he's shorter.
Correct.
In stature. And he makes up for it because he's a pressure fighter. He's not afraid to get hit. He likes to smother. He likes to throw you onto the ropes and bang to the body and have an inside game. He likes that kind of fight because he doesn't have a reach.
Correct.
So these two styles will definitely complement each other. So the question is, who's going to win? The big, bulky, little bull, or is it going to be the longer, more like I would say, I can't say agile, but he's also athletic. Like that's the killer combination with Spence. Not only does he have a really good jab, but he's also fast on the feet. Mm-hmm. He can also keep a really good distance against people with fast feet as well. So Porter, I'm going to say right now. I mean, I have to geek out and watch things in slow motion with Spence, but just my gut feeling based on what I've seen of the two. I think Spence has the upper hand because of his great jab and his ability to keep a good distance. I don't think Porter would touch him much.
You don't think so? We mentioned earlier that people were making the mistake of putting Thurman on a pedestal, even though he was undefeated champion. I am bothered by, and believe me, some of the nasty comments you get on YouTube, it really doesn't bother me. I'm a big boy. Show your childish behavior and your bad language. Good for you. I'm sure mom and dad are proud. But they talk about Spence like he's a Hall of Famer and he's going to destroy Pacquiao. He's only had 25 fights, and his resume is okay, but he hasn't fought any real Hall of Famers. So I think he may be. People may be putting him on a pedestal as well. Do you think?
Definitely. Again, the boxing world is thirsty for new blood.
Yeah.
Right. So we see a little brilliant spark in someone. They're like the boxing god all of a sudden. Right. Okay, Crawford. Look at Crawford. Yeah. Again, he's a very talented fighter, but who has he fought? And if you say Amir Khan.
Yeah.
Again, let me repeat myself. Who is he?
I stubbed my toe. I gotta quit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
bad. So, but again, based on what I've seen, we do see some brilliance.
Yeah, no doubt.
These guys, do they need Pacquiao more than Pacquiao needs them? Absolutely.
Great point.
Who's the one bringing the money? Who's the A side in those fights? Who's bringing the money?
Yeah.
Like, what were the numbers to Manny's last fight versus the numbers to the last Spence fight or the last Crawford fight? Who knows? Nobody's talking about it.
And Rod, let's be honest, it's not in name only. He's, in my opinion, and he proved it last night, he's just as good as any welterweight out there, I think.
He is. He is. He
Yeah.
is.
So how would you, what do you think Manny's chances are against either Spence or Porter?
Again, you know, not to geek out on it just yet, but against my gut feeling on it is I think he would have a tough chance against Spence and Crawford, both of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The reason why, well, first of all, let me just say that Spence and Crawford have the luxury of going through 70 fights of Manny Pacquiao and reviewing tape.
Good point. Good point.
Okay. Which is actually, if you think about it, then why did Thurman put the wrong strategy against Pacquiao? Yeah. Like, why would he even think, like, again, like he said that Pacquiao is not, we know he's not a technical fighter. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, are we seriously saying this? Like the couple of days before the fight? But anyway, not the sidetrack. How would he do against those guys? Age is just a number, okay? But now those guys are even younger, right? How old is Spence and Crawford? Are they even in their 30s yet?
I don't think they are. I can't. I don't have the intro right in front of me, but yeah.
So if I were to be Spence's coach and Crawford's coach, I would just say, stay the hell away from Pacquiao.
Right. Good point. And I think we all agree, and anybody with any boxing sense at all would agree that you can't prepare for Pacquiao because there's nobody else like him.
No. The way that I would prepare for Pacquiao would be to have some, again, footwork. You could match someone's footwork. There's somebody out there, there's sparring partners out there who can mimic Manny Pacquiao's footwork. You can work on it. Right. But for me as a coach, that's what I would be focusing on. Footwork. Yeah. In order for Manny Pacquiao to hit me, he would have to come in. So I have to make sure that I do not tire going in and out, shadowing. Look at that's what Marquez did. Yeah. I mean, Marquez, again, he didn't come out of the fights like, untouched. I mean, he was beat up, but again, he worked on his timing. And someone like Spence, based on what I've seen, he has fresh legs, man. Yeah. His footwork is fast. Yeah. And long with an authoritative jab. That is a really bad combination for Pacquiao. Yeah. It might actually be a very boring fight, for the fans.
Well, but then again, Rod, how many times have we seen this? Dozens of times, where and even now people don't appreciate Pacquiao's skill, intelligence, ability, the whole package. Even now, even after all these years and all the success that nobody has ever had, people still doubt him. It amazes me.
Yeah, what it is that people are tired of hearing about Pacquiao.
Probably, yeah.
And only the real the people who geek out really see what he's doing. And the people who are just tired of hearing about Pacquiao, non-American, non-slick boxer. He's not black, again, sadly, people just kind of they can't see past the color, and they just like, oh, whatever. Pacquiao is he's a midget and he's just whatever. I'm tired of hearing, oh, yeah. He's a cherry picker. And they don't even look at him. They're just like listening to other haters, taking their word for it. And it's just like a bad rumor.
Yeah, it's like politics. You see it in politics all the time. when
sees
you
it in
question them,
politics.
honest, you just ask a simple question, then they start calling you names. Well, that's all you got. You know, it's disappointing. But
Yeah.
I did a video on this recently, Rod. That we got over 1,000 people watching now. By the way, thank you guys very, very much. As
Oh, cool.
DrBringIt joins us today. Check out his channel. It's good stuff. But you know, I said it before, and I stand by my opinion. It's just an opinion. He could be the greatest ever. You know, he could be the greatest fighter ever.
You know, there's it might be in the conversation now, right? I mean, Muhammad Ali. You know, when people think of the greatest fighter, Muhammad Ali always comes to mind.
Yep.
But why is that? And it's because Muhammad Ali transcends the sport. He came in a time that was very political. Oh, babe.
Jude. Still there, Rob? Okay. Did I lose you? Oh, my goodness.
Oh, boy.
Oh, well. Well, I'll tell you what.
That was 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, we got through.
We're on.
Are we still on? Okay. Okay. Our guest has been DrBringIt.
Yeah.
Rod's a great guy. We discovered his channel recently. Sorry we lost you, Rod, but believe me, we'll continue to remind our viewers about you and your channel. It's great stuff. I've learned a lot. First time I watched his channel, as he you know, asked questions about the Pacquiao versus Thurman fight, and examined Pacquiao's skills and his technique and his footwork. I learned a lot. DrBringIt knows his stuff, and he's very well spoken, and he's a good guy, which is the most important thing of all, right? So check out this video, check out his channel, DrBringIt. Many thanks to you, Rod, for joining us, and we'll continue to watch your channel. We'll chat again, not to worry. That's it for this edition of Coffee with the Goose, the live version, and really appreciate all you folks for joining me today, and for all our shows. We you know, we try and bring a playful, humble approach. We like to do our homework, and hey, it's just opinion. We all have opinions, right? You know, we really appreciate you watching and subscribing to our channel. Don't forget, we're on Facebook too. Thanks, Jude. You're the man. Without Jude, our producer, it wouldn't be possible. He is much appreciated. So continue to watch. We've got many more shows to come, even after the Pacquiao mania. The latest version is over. We've got videos about our latest trip to the Philippines, a trip to a visit to Bohol, the Mother Mary Shrine in Cebu, and a visit with a mayoral candidate in Argao who won. So we only deal with winners here, right? That's it for this edition of Coffee with the Goose. Thank you so much for watching. You take care.